Hey Jill, thanks for being with me.
Thank you.
So tell me, for starters, where are you from? And how did you get to Telluride?
I'm originally from Aspen, Colorado, and I moved here in 1997 with my husband and our two sons, who are now 13 and 14 years old.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, Colorado's been home all my life.
Great. So you are a fitness coach and an author. Let's talk about how you became a fitness coach. How did that enter your life?
Well, I started a company recently called 180 Wellness, and that's taken on the it's your turn to turn your life around. So I wanted to really um, send that message out that it's time to take control of your life and become more healthy. And really where my mission comes from is from my experience and my story of when I was in high school and I was not healthy.
I wasn't healthy either.
And I was in high school long before you. But so when I entered college and was living on my own, things got worse and worse and worse. And I wasn't healthy. My academics were sliding, and I was trying to be athletic, and I just could not excel at anything. And yeah, it was awful. So I finally went to the doctor and checked things out and found that I did have some health issues, which particularly high cholesterol was the most. And you know, I was a scared young 19-year-old who did
in
not.
college,
Yeah.
cholesterol.
Yeah.
I barely learned about it, you know?
And I didn't want to be medicated.
Right.
So I decided to turn my life around at that time.
Mm.
And, you know, cut out all the bad foods and just took on a more healthy lifestyle. So when I started my company and developed my mission, which is helping people focus on their healthy goals so that they can excel, prosper, and succeed in all areas of their life, I kind of take that as my story and my experience because I realized how it felt to not feel healthy.
Yeah.
And when you feel that, the pleasure of feeling healthy for me far outweighed the pain that came with when I was feeling unhealthy and I was not accomplishing anything.
Right.
So I started teaching aerobics back then and running and doing triathlons and getting into all that.
Sure.
And then I got into desk jobs, if you will. But I got into that because I kind of thought I should, you know, the corporate level
Exactly.
executive jobs, and did that. And then just recently I decided to make the change, which really came after a trip down the Grand Canyon, which made me I came out of the canyon and really was evaluating my life at my age and whether what I was doing day in, day out, was that what I wanted to be
Right.
doing. And the job I had wasn't bad at all, mind you, and it was a desk job, but I realized I am so much more a people person and I want to help people with my
Yeah.
story. So I came out of the Grand Canyon and actually wrote a book,
That's amazing.
which is kind of my story. And the
Yeah.
book came first, and then I changed careers, and now it's all really what I use.
And could you tell me a little bit about this book and when did you write it? Grooving in the Canyon.
My book. So 2 years ago,
How
my family
exciting.
and I went on the Grand Canyon, and really the story there is that I was absolutely terrified to go on the trip, and it wasn't because I was afraid of flipping in the raft or drowning or dying. It was more because I was not in control of my own agenda.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you understand that, but back in college, actually, my stomach perforated from an ulcer, and it was a near-death experience, which I obviously survived from. But I think I had been living the last 24 years of my life kind of afraid that could happen again anytime, that I
Well-
could die anytime. And I didn't die.
And you didn't die.
You know, and it took me admittedly, about 3 days into the trip to really be more relaxed. And then what happened was I was absolutely liberated from feeling life without that control. And I kind of decided, boy, it's one thing, you do need to control your life and be proactive and know what you want and whatnot. But and that's largely what I work on with
Right.
with people. But to let control consume you is very stressful. And so I realized, then I was down in the Grand Canyon and I was experiencing life like, now mind you, we had a guide and we were commercial operated and someone was cooking
Yeah.
for me and doing, and it was
Right.
it was nice. And ironically, that someone was a person I went to high school with. So there was a big connection.
Sure.
My guide was someone who I felt very safe with, and that's a big part of the story that's in here, is that high school connection that I think everyone can relate
Yeah,
to too. So
sure.
it was fun. I came out of the trip and said, what am I missing? And it was writing a book. That was the main thing. I wanted to write a book, so I did. And then I started very slowly taking baby steps to changing my career path. and got to where I am now. So my company that I started, I first had the desire to be, for lack of a better term, a life coach.
Yeah.
And what I did is I took health and wellness as my niche market and my foundation because, as you know from my story earlier, is that's my foundation. If you don't have the health and wellness part, and wellness of the mind, wellness of the body, physical, it all goes together. If you don't have that, you're not going to attract more clients. You're not going to make more money. You're going to hold yourself up. And so, once you can feel confident about yourself, and largely that comes from physical fitness and wellness of the mind. And so I decided to start this business to where I could help other people through my story.
And so, say I was to come to you, what do you do? I've heard you talk to me about a passion test, which
Right.
sounds very exciting. Tell me about that.
And the passion test, I did bring
Right.
the book. It's by Janet Bray Atwood and Chris Atwood. And they personally trained me in LA this past May. And it was a very intense training, so now I'm a certified passion test facilitator. This has been exciting, really exciting work because I'll either use it as an intake session to a client like yourself who comes to me and wants to maybe make some changes, maybe doesn't really know where they want to go. And what this does largely and mostly is helps you become clear on what's most important to you.
Yeah.
And then it gives you strategies to make decisions in favor of what's most important to you and therefore align your life with what's most important to you. And so I use this as a major tool, and I use it with my physical clients. I train people for Ironmans, for marathons, for any physical event. I specialize in running. I'm going to become a certified running instructor in March of 2012, so I'm in school for that right now.
Wow.
So that's really, my passion is running, so I train people on that level. And the passion test really helps them, like the passions actually become their motivators.
Right.
And then they can reach that finish line and they can reach their personal records. And
It's so interesting. You had said something earlier today to me about the passion test, about how a lot of people don't know what their passions are.
Right.
And it's like you sort of pull it out of them. You're
Right.
able to find what motivates them, what they really want.
Right. And that the process of the passion test is basically taking a list of 10, and then I help you facilitate from your heart down to your top 5. So believe it or not, there you have to compare one over the other and choose one over the other, and that's very frightening for people. And it's also frightening to come up with the 10, or people have 800, and then they're not focused on anything. They're doing kind of everything halfway. And so we take you down to 5 because that's about all that your brain can handle at one time, believe it or not. And then you have 5 things you can memorize and always choose in favor of those 5 things, and then your life becomes somewhat seamless.
It's amazing.
It's cool.
I need to make an appointment with you for several things. I need to find my passion, and I have terrible running motivation.
Okay.
I feel like I run, I'm like, I'm done, I know. So I
know.
need to thicken up my skin a little bit.
Well, up here in Telluride, where it's 8,700 feet above sea level, it's very difficult to run. But I've been working. I held a workshop this fall and had 14 ladies show up, and it was amazing. It's kind of the epiphany of why I do what I do. 14 ladies, some of them I have to admit were off the couch. They had never done anything. And so what we did in the workshop was I go over the fundamentals of running, the safe running techniques, how you can prevent injuries and run with, less energy, more efficiency.
Right.
And I'm telling you, these women by the end of the 5-week session were running 30 minutes for the first time in their lives.
Yeah.
And now they're addicted. I see them on the street now and they're like, oh, Jill, you started something. The life coaching side of it is so important because if you say you can't do something, that's the part that holds people back, or they're focused on what the pain is going to be, so they don't want to run any faster because they associate what that pain is going to be, and then they realize they can do it. And so out of that running workshop, I had quite a few ladies run a half marathon, and I think everybody knows that when you're healthy, you are more focused, you're more clear, you can get more done, you're more motivated, you're more successful.
Sure.
But how do we get there? How do you find the time to fit that in? And you've got, high-level CEOs, big people from corporations and whatever. How do they find the time to do that? And the answer is if they can find the time, the day is going to be more productive. And so I teach a great process of, moving from a contracted state where you're very stressed to being very expanded and open up, and really that process takes you through physical fitness.
Yeah.
And using
They're
the tools
tied
of physical
together,
fitness.
yeah.
And then suddenly you're expanded and you're able to receive what the world is
Yeah.
offering you, and that's really the bottom of
Right.
what I do.
Well, what an amazing story, Jill. You are truly exciting to talk to, and
Thank you.
and it seems like you have great potential to help people. So all of you guys in Telluride are visiting. Jill can make you into, the person you should be.
I don't know that I can make you,
But
you would make yourself.
yes, there you go.
I would be there to rah and cheer
The
you on.
coach. I'll give you a little direction, right?
Yes.
You could be the compass.
Yeah, really, the person makes their choices, and I tell people, one of my favorite things to tell people is, people can take everything away from you except for one thing. Do you know what that is? Your mind, and the way you choose to react.
Yeah.
Everything else can be taken from you, believe it or not, except what's up there.
Yeah.
So
So make it the best. Hold on to it, right?
yeah, wherever we are, there's choices we've made to be here. So
For sure.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jill. It's been a blast talking
Thank
to
you.
Yeah.
Are you cold yet?
I'm a little cold. Just this hand is cold.
It's a beautiful day.
It is.